As soon as I boarded the plane, I noticed something odd. Passengers' luggage should all be stowed in the overhead bins, yet one man was furtively placing a mysterious wooden box at his feet. An elderly man nearby also sensed something amiss, but was glared at fiercely by the stranger. This scene suddenly filled me with unease. I couldn't shake the feeling that the wooden box concealed some inexplicable danger. Just as I shared my suspicions with my girlfriend, the mysterious man answered a call. I tried to keep my voice down, but the strange conversation still drew curious glances. Then a flight attendant approached, asking him to place the box in the overhead bin. He snapped at her, "Don't touch my box," before carefully lifting it into the compartment. Thankfully, nothing else unusual happened afterward. The plane took off smoothly, and I finally felt a little relieved. But the next moment, something even more bizarre began to unfold. The strange man suddenly clutched his throat, then slammed his head painfully against the seat back. The flight attendant hurriedly fetched the medical kit, but he thrust his hand straight into his mouth. It seemed something was choking him, preventing him from breathing. The next instant, he coughed up a mouthful of dark red substance. As a doctor, I rushed over to assist. I asked if he had any pre-existing conditions, but he didn't respond. Before I could ask more, he suddenly let out a scream, his body stiffening and convulsing violently. The scene stunned everyone. The next moment, he collapsed as if deflated. I realized his breath was already extremely weak. I hurriedly signaled others to carry him to the galley. After performing CPR, there was still no response. I could only gently close his eyes. The flight attendant reported the incident to the captain. With 8 hours of flight remaining, to avoid unnecessary panic, the captain decided to relocate all business class passengers to the lower deck. His body would be moved to the upper deck for separate storage. During the transfer, my hand scraped a streak of blood across the glass. This stirred an inexplicable unease within me. As I passed a woman with short hair, she suddenly slipped her finger across my wrist and flashed an eerie smile. Meanwhile, the man with long hair ahead stared fixedly at the gold watch on the deceased's wrist. Soon, I was strapped into my seat. Just as the flight attendant calmed down to resume her duties, she suddenly discovered a tooth on the empty seat. In that instant, I realized it had been pulled from the dead man's mouth. Panic-stricken, I collapsed onto the floor. The steam from the kettle projected the outline of a bloodstained palm. Before I could recover, I noticed my paper cup lid had turned black. Then the water bottle in my hand began to change. The next moment, the plane started to shake violently. Those not wearing seatbelts were flung toward the ceiling. Luggage began scattering everywhere. Immediately afterward, cabin pressure plummeted. Oxygen masks dropped from the overhead compartments. People frantically covered their mouths and noses with the masks, but my girlfriend's mask contained no oxygen. The next second, she passed out from oxygen deprivation. I hurriedly put my own mask on her. After a few deep breaths, she regained consciousness. Quick as lightning, I grabbed another mask from the seat behind us. But just as I took a breath, I saw a passenger slumped in their seat up front. Without a second thought, I rushed over and secured masks for the mother and daughter, only to turn back and find my girlfriend's mask already empty, and collapsed back into her seat. By then, I too had no strength left and collapsed onto the floor. Fortunately, through my blurred vision, I spotted the emergency oxygen supply nearby. Summoning every ounce of strength, I struggled to open it and staggered toward my girlfriend. Finally, after she took a breath, she regained consciousness. Just as we were swapping oxygen masks, the plane slowly stopped shaking. Cabin pressure gradually stabilized. After a moment of calm, people nervously removed their masks. Thankfully, everyone had survived the crisis. I realized my fingers had turned black due to the cabin pressure. But just as everyone thought the disaster was over, the truly bizarre events began. When Lisa opened her laptop to check photos, a terrifying face suddenly appeared on the screen. She turned to look behind her, but there was nothing there. After regaining her composure, she dismissed it as a hallucination. At that very moment,